So Archie, you've had a tough few years training in the army. What was harder for you, the mental struggle or the physical struggle?
Well, when I was out there, it was definitely the physical struggle. I felt like every single day I was waking up with such bruises and such aching on my body. But I realise now that nothing could compare to like the emotional and the mental struggles that now I'm experiencing because of those experiences.
What made you want to join the army in the first place?
So personally, I was always one of those kids that grew up loving fighting in the playgrounds, always being a bit too aggressive, and the school used to tell me, and my parents used to tell me, well, why don't you just go fight in the army, where that anger you always seem to have can be put to some good. And when I was 16, I said, yeah, well, I will do that then. And I walked out on my family.
So would you say that you were pressured into the army?
I'd say people encouraged me, which possibly wasn't the right thing to do because of how aggressive I was. It would have probably been better to look into ways to calm me down instead of encouraging it almost.
Have you had a history of mental illness before you joined the army?
Personally, I never felt like I did, and even speaking to my parents now, they never thought that there was an issue with me. So I would definitely have to say that it was the army that contributed to my, let's say, difficulties with dealing with life back to normal after war.
Can you remember a specific bad experience that was the turning point for your mental health?
So at the time I was training with the SAS, and they took me out on this 30-mile hike with 15 kilos in my backpack, and they make you hike all through the day in this blistering hot heat in all the gear, and when you arrive, instead of greeting you with a glass of water or something, they say, right, now you've got to go back. And that's how they got rid with a lot of people. Most people quit at that point, but I was one of the few that continued, and yeah, let's just say those 15 miles back were the toughest miles of my life.
Did you ever reach out for help, and if so, did you get any from the army?
You were almost encouraged not to think about your mental health. It was very much frowned upon in the army. People used to just insult you, and they'd say that you just weren't strong enough, you weren't tough enough, and it made you want to reject any kind of need for any help. So I'd definitely say the army were against it. And now thinking about it now, it's also a brilliant financial way for them to save some money. If no one wants to talk about it, then they don't have to pay for any psychologists or anything like that. But I definitely think that people should pay more attention to it.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. It can be tough talking about mental struggles. Thanks, Archie.
No worries.